Welcome back, and thank you for watching WKNI. It's my pleasure to have an interview with Mayor Earl Johnson. We always like to follow up after a city council meeting. You had a council meeting last night.
Did?
Yeah. And you know, even though it seems like routine business, these abatements, they're very important for the weed control in our city. But every time you always have 3 or 4 abatements, don't you?
We have some almost every council meeting, we sure do. And that was the case last night. We had, I think, 4 or 5 properties that had overgrown weeds and grasses, and those properties were declared a nuisance, and they will be abated, and the cost of the abatement will have to be paid by the property owner.
Well, I noticed in the Star News today, it's talking about enforcing the curfew for minors, and that has a little bit to do with cleaning the city too.
It's,
you know, people just parking their car and, you know.
It's turned into a real problem, Bob, here, particularly downtown on the square and in other parking lots around town where young folks, and some not so young, will pull in and park for hours, and they'll sit on the hood of the car, the fender, or lean against the car, and they'll eat their snacks that they bought at some of our fast food restaurants, and we appreciate that. But what we don't appreciate is many of them, when they get through, they take their bags and their cups and stuff and just throw them down in the parking lot, or leave them sitting out on the walls here on the square. And there are garbage cans everywhere these people are gathering. There are plenty of garbage cans. All they have to do is walk 3 steps and put it in a garbage can. And
well, you're not being unreasonable. All you're really asking them is to clean up after themselves.
Exactly. So we're going to start. I've had 2 meetings with the chief of police and the assistant chief, and we're going to start cracking down on that, because we spend a lot of money. The city does, the taxpayers, the city of Andalusia, trying to keep our city looking sharp and clean. And it's really discouraging to get up and come to work every morning and see the square littered with styrofoam cups and boxes and bags and stuff, and it's the same people generally doing it over and over again. And so some people just don't have any pride in their own property, but we have a lot of pride in our community, and we want to put a stop to that. And,
well, that's the only way you can keep it clean. You just have to nip it in the bud.
Yep, that's what we're going to do. We're going to try to do it in a fair manner, but we're going to be pretty strict about it. We're going to have to put a stop to it.
Well, maybe y'all can ask them to pick up the trash, and maybe they'll do it. You never know.
I think that's going to be one of the options that's given to them. Yes.
Well, I saw you had a resolution for surplus equipment. Now, what is surplus equipment?
Well, you know, this particular equipment we're talking about were handheld radios.
Okay.
Our police department and our utilities department and all of our department, our public works departments, all of our folks that work out and communicate with each other and back to their home base, or communicate with each other out in the field, have little handheld radios that they use. And up to this point in history, we've used analog radios, and a lot of people familiar with what we're talking about. For example, our TVs used to be analog televisions, and now we're all going to digital TVs. And the reason for that is because the federal government is changing the frequencies that they are allowing to be used in these radios. And so we have now replaced all of our analog radios with new digital radios, so that we will be up to date and not be behind the curve, so to speak, once that order comes down from the FCC, which we know is going to happen probably this year. And when that happens, then you're going to have municipalities and all kinds of agencies and all over the country who are going to be scrambling to buy these digital radios, and the prices of them are going to go out the roof, plus they're going to be almost impossible to get. So we just got ahead of the curve. We went ahead and got ours, which meant that we don't have any use for the old analog radios. So before the city can sell any old property, you have to declare it surplus.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you don't have any further use for it. So we've declared these old analog radios surplus, and we're going to sell those to the Covenant County emergency agency, and they can continue to use those because they don't have any, and they can give some of those out to some of their folks.
That'll help them be organized.
And they'll pay us a fair amount for them, and then they can use them for as long as they're able to, and then of course they'll have to they'll have to convert their operations over to digital as well.
Now, I saw where you're going to buy some new police uniforms. Does everybody get a uniform?
Well, they do, yes. What we've been supplying for our officers are what we call Class B uniforms. And those would
They look pretty good.
They look fine, but they're more like they're a work uniform.
Okay.
They're rougher material and more durable material. And what we are going to buy each officer is one dress uniform, and that dress uniform will be used for special occasions. And you know, when they're taking when they're appearing as a unit
at a funeral, maybe
funerals or any number of
what about
events.
like Memorial Day?
Yeah,
where you're honoring somebody.
Exactly. There's all kinds of reasons they'll wear them, but they won't wear them every day. They'll wear them on special occasions, and we think that it makes them look so much nicer. And again, we're trying to step Andalusia up to the next level, and that includes how our police department looks.
Well, why don't you take a picture of them and put them on your webpage too? Because you know they'll look good.
That's a great idea. We'll do that. We'll put.
Because we're moving on up another step.
We can have one officer in his Class B uniform, and then retake that photograph with him with his dress uniform, and people will be able to see the difference. For example, he'll be wearing a tie, or she'll be wearing a tie. The material is a more of a dress type material, nicer looking material than that they use for their work uniform. So we're only talking about $3,400 for the whole department. So it's not a lot of money, but we think that it's money well spent because it gives them, the police officers, pride in their appearance. And
well, they're representing a fallen officer or someone that passed away.
Yes.
For other reasons, but I mean, they're representing us when they're going to those funerals, and you don't want to go to a funeral looking any way but your best.
I agree.
Really, it's
agree.
Disrespectful.
I agree. So we're glad to do that, and again, it's not a real high dollar cost to us, and the uniforms will last a long time because again, they'll only wear them occasionally.
Well, one thing that wasn't on the agenda that I actually have had people ask me this. And it's in the national news about these body cameras. Do we have any body cameras at all?
No, we do not.
Okay.
We do not presently have body cameras, but we have authorized, last night at the council meeting, we authorized a grant writer, Carla Powell, and contracted with her to write a grant application for some federal grant money that's available to buy body cameras for all of our police officers. We may or may not get it. I mean,
do the police officers want body cameras?
Yes,
How do they feel about that?
The leadership of the police department is the one that brought it up to me.
Okay.
And brought this to me, said we want to do this.
I think it's something the public is positive about also, really, honestly. I think it protects the public and the police officers.
There's no question. It's right now we have cameras in all of our police vehicles, but once the officer gets out of the car and moves away from the direction that his camera in his vehicle is aimed, you don't any longer have a view of that. So, but if it's on his or her uniform, then it will get everything that's going on in front of them. And so we think it's a valuable tool, both again a protection for both the citizens and the police department.
I saw where you appointed Miss Elaine Manning back to a board. Was that the tourism?
T&R Committee, Tourism and Relocation. She's
been doing that for a while, hasn't she?
She's been on that board for quite some time, has done an outstanding job, and we announced the opening several weeks, and she reapplied to be reappointed, and she was the only person that applied, so we reappointed her. But Elaine will continue to do an outstanding job on that committee.
Well, she grew up in this town, and she's always done her best to promote Andalusia and Covenant County.
Yes, that committee just does a terrific job, and she's an important part of that.
I saw where you had an application for a community block grant. What was that? What did you apply for?
We applied for a resurfacing grant. This is a grant that we're working with the Southeast Alabama Regional Development Commission is helping us try to get to land that grant. It's a CDBG grant, Community Development Block Grant, and that will be resurfacing a big portion of South Cotton Street, some streets off that neighborhood, and then some streets off the neighborhood off kind of where you live, across from
Yeah, probably Simmons Street and Rankin Street.
Simmons and Rankin and Auburn Avenue and all back in there.
Yeah.
That grant, if we're successful in getting that grant, will resurface just about all that neighborhood.
How's your application coming for South Arena? Is it moving along?
Well, we hope it is. It seems like, I know people get tired of hearing this, but it's it's the truth. It is what it is. It's still in the hands of DOT, the Alabama Department of Transportation, and we hope that.
But does the budget that they're trying to pass in Montgomery, that have anything? I don't think that does.
No, that's the general fund budget,
Yeah.
and special education trust fund budget doesn't have anything to do with this. But the problem with this grant and getting it moving faster is that they gave out a lot of those grants at one time, a lot of them all over the state. So it's taken them a long time to work through
Process
all
of
of
that.
that.
You know, talking about education, I have heard great reviews about this summer program
Yeah.
of Apple. You know, I didn't realize it was going to go on year round. I thought it was just during, but so many parents and grandparents are loving this organization for their kids to have a great summer.
Well, it's just taking up where the after school program left off, and making it a summer program. And again, the children will be fed. They'll have two good meals. They will get an opportunity for some classroom work or some academic work. But they'll also be given an opportunity to participate in a lot of activities that they might not ever otherwise be able to participate in. So again, it's keeping our children safe, it's making sure that they're in a healthy environment, and teaching them some skills and helping them with their education. So it's a win-win.
How are you going to beat that deal?
It's a win-win.
You know, it rained pretty good bit last week. And the flowers, have you noticed, like at Dr. Kerr's office in front of Springdale, and then around the square, the beauty of the flowers is remarkable this year.
I've had several people fuss at me a little bit about the roses in front of Springdale. They said they're too big, they need to be cut back a little bit, and they probably do. But with as much rain as we've had, we hadn't had time to get out there and get them cut.
One day we're going to find out, you ain't got an answer right now, but one day we're going to find out how many people actually have weddings down there. Every time I go by there, there's another wedding.
We've been having an event down there
every day,
every weekend, and sometimes during the week as well.
Yeah, I mean, I saw them during the week put up the tent, for some event. Well, Mayor Johnson, I think we kind of covered the city council meeting.
We did.
And I want to thank you for being here today, and thank you for the excellent work you're doing with the city. And if we can ever be any help, any of y'all have any questions, give us a holler. Check us out on Facebook. And I'll tell you, the city of Andalusia has a wonderful webpage, and you can find out almost anything you want to know about any business license or anything about the city. It's a great webpage.
It is. Our people work really hard to keep it updated, and we feel like it's we've looked at other cities and tried to compare what we're doing with them, and we feel like our webpage is right up there with any of them, and it's got timely information. It's kept updated, and it's an attractive webpage, and so. We just invite folks to get on there. It talks a lot about the things we talked about here today.
Well, sure.
We put it on there. You can watch the latest city council meeting. There's a video of it there. You can watch the whole video if you want to. The minutes of all the meetings of the city council, previous city council meetings are on there. You can go look at them and read that if you want to. And I think it's a good website and webpage, and has a lot of good information on it.
Well, thank you, Mayor
Yes,
Johnson.
sir.
And thank y'all for watching.